Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the deferred sales trust, is an amazing way for you to eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange, defer capital gains tax on the sale of cryptocurrency businesses, real estate, so you can create and preserve more wealth or help your clients, friends, and family do the same. Hey, we're also streaming on expert CRE secrets as well out there, so we appreciate everyone listening. I'm your host, Brett Swartz, and each episode I'm joined by some of the best real estate, financial, wealth, and business minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. I'm excited about our next guest. He's out of the great state of New York, now in Colorado, and he's on a mission to help all of us understand how to make wealth in foreclosures. In fact, after finding a great coach and flipping over 100 houses, and before obtaining his real estate license during the mortgage crisis in 2008, he went on to master the art of finding, funding, fixing, and flipping foreclosure deals in Colorado Springs market. But he didn't stop there. As his knowledge and profile kind of grew, he became inspired to share his skills with people like you and me and so many more. I've been completing over 300 flips and helping multiple colleagues build seven-figure net worths through real estate investing. He's on a mission to help us do the same. Please welcome to with me, Donny Coram. Donny, how you doing?
Doing very well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. And for our listeners to get to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Absolutely. So I would go by the Foreclosure Deals Coach with the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. And thanks for the incredible intro. All pretty accurate stuff. I've been flipping for about 17 years now, done over 300 flips. Recently have transitioned my business to helping other people to build income, net worth, and find their three freedoms, which are financial, location, and time freedom through foreclosure investing, buying properties below market, either fixing them up and selling them or fixing them up and renting them out. But it's a great way to build wealth, especially with the market the way it's shifting right now. A lot of opportunities are popping up at the moment on the marketplace.
Amazing. We're going to be talking about foreclosure investing with Donny. And if you want to connect with Donny right now, just go to foreclosuredealcoach.com. That's foreclosuredealcoach.com. You know, Donny, before we get into some of those freedoms and some of the secrets to foreclosure investing, I want to take one other step back. You know, I believe we'd all be given certain gifts in this life, and the gifts to be given us to be a blessing, help to others. So I'm curious, what are those one or two gifts that you believe you were given? How does that help how you help and bless people today?
Love that. Quick clarity. It's Foreclosure Deals Coach, plural. Just if you guys are looking for the website, there's an S on the end of that. But yeah, I think one of the blessings I've been given, Brett, is kind of the ability to get people from a state of inaction to a state of action. If we're being honest, there's a bunch of free data out there on real estate investing. You can go to YouTube, you can go to the podcast market, you can find all sorts of data. So if it's all available and all that stuff's out there to allow people to build wealth through real estate, why do so few people do it? Well, one of my gifts is the coaching aspect. As you can hear, I'm totally got the voice of a coach. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm working with people to overcome the mindset, give you the methodology, and find the tools necessary to be successful doing it. It is one thing to learn about it. It's another thing entirely to actually take action. So it's a combination of a skill set that I've used to build my empire and other people's empire, and my devout notion that people just need some hand-holding. You need some accountability. You need somebody to grab you and go, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to buy this house. We're going to fix it up. You're going to make an income. I can take people from that point of inaction to a state of action. That's where I think most of my successes are found.
Perfect. Let's dive right in with that in mind. It's a great gift, by the way. It's a needed gift. There's a lot of analysis paralysis, or a lot of do it yourself, but I believe everyone does need a coach, and everyone needs a coach in multiple areas of life, especially if it comes to building wealth. So let's talk all about that right now. So what is the number one secret to foreclosure investing? Donny, go.
I think the number one secret is following a process. I think like anything else, the investing process is not that complicated. It's that there's a process to find. In my course, I go into detail on my 5 F's of foreclosure investing, which I'll give you a quick synopsis on, Brett. They are find, figure, fund, fix, and flip. right? In every one of those stages, if you're following the process the way it's supposed to happen, investing like anything else is easier. The problem is people get out of order, right? They want to figure out how they're going to pay for their first deal before they've even found it. They're watching the crazy fix and flip shows with Chris and Joanna Gaines, and they're super excited about grabbing a hammer and starting to swing away and fix up their property before they even know how to find the deal to begin with, right? So all of these things are to say that when you follow the order and you have the hand holding and guidance that you need to take each step as it's supposed to happen, much like I'm sure, in avoiding capital gains tax, there's a procedure you need to be following. I'm going to handhold you through that procedure. That's the real secret sauce in being successful, is do it in order with assistance. And I can offer both of those things to my clients.
Fantastic. I love those 5 F's: find, figure, fund, fix, and flip. When you break it down a process in a system, right? And someone who's like an expert like you, who's done that, that's really what it comes down to. A guide or someone who's been ahead of you, a few steps ahead of you, to, like you said, hold your hand, hold you accountable, give you the push, give you the nudge, and help you to overcome these maybe false beliefs of, oh, either I can't afford it, or I don't have the time, or all of the other things that people may be thinking. But so that's step 1. That's great. What would be step 2 to foreclosure investing, especially given the current environment that we might be coming into?
I think it's understanding the market. There's so much going to change the market dynamic. If we look at the real estate professional landscape, most people hopped into the game about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, your average real estate agent has been licensed for 5 years or less currently. Okay, so most people have not lived through a massive crisis like the 2008, 2009 crisis when I got started in this industry, okay? So it's important to know that the market that's been operating on an upward swing for 10 years is gonna feel, look, and be much different than it was in the previous era. So navigating through that's gonna understand the mindset of the market, how it functions, and getting back to it, having somebody to keep you from freaking out. So if you have an accountability coach with you to go, this doesn't seem normal because it hasn't been normal in 5 years, but it is currently the new market normal. It is so much easier to build wealth through buying these distressed assets when you have an understanding of how the market dynamics function during that market space.
Yeah, people can make money in any market, right? There's deals in every market. There's foreclosures in every market. There just might be an influx of certain ones. And there's certain trends, and there's certain things that are happening. So I'm curious, Donny, what do you believe is the most similar to what might be happening from the 08 to right now? And what's the biggest difference that you want to make sure you dispel some myths right now?
Sure. Well, obviously the market's been an upward tear since about 2010, 2011. Normal market cycles are supposed to be 7 years long. Like if you go back in American history, you should have 7 years. In extreme cases, you push to 10 years of market cycle. We're now at 12 to 14 years, depending on who you ask, of upward market increase, right? Super dangerous. In the end, the reason the government's taking such drastic action right now to curb inflation by basically crushing the housing market, and they're making no bones about that. They made it very clear our plan is to they're using the term reset, right? But they also redefine what recession means. So like, how can we trust the government on what they're saying about anything related to the housing market at this juncture? But what they are definitely doing is try to get it so homes stay semi-affordable. And to do so, the huge amount of speculation that has driven the market for the past decade or so has to be pulled out of the market. And to do that, you got to make it less profitable, at least in the short term, right? When it's just professional investors investing, there's a creme de la creme at the top and bottom of every market in the outlier space where people can make money. To your point, Brett, you can make money in any market, but when everybody is doing it, when Grandma Jane is watching the flipping shows and she's flipping houses too, that is just a problem. Okay, this needs to be left to the professionals who know what they're doing, and that over speculation is why the market went where it went. I'm excited about this new market because it's going to knock a lot of the less experienced players out of the game, and it's going to be pay dirt for professionally trained investors like myself and my students.
Yeah, very well said. And it is fascinating to see what might actually shake out, where things are going. On one hand, I hear that the credit has not been given. It's been safe. It's been better underwritten. It's not just the ninja loans. It's not all of the stuff we saw in The Big Short and all the madness.
Right.
And then on the other hand, we're still in this huge housing crisis, meaning it's like very low inventory, and then we have the prices that are out of, let's say out of control, keep going higher. And then you have buyers and interest rates. So there's like just, I feel like it's in a Rubik's Cube sometimes, Donny, right? And I'm sitting here I'm turning it, right? And then the next day I'm like, well, no, that just changed. And then and then the war in Ukraine, and then, oh my gosh, then like inflation's out of control. And then there's not quite job loss. And so I'm trying to make sense of this, but in the meantime, I think it's the perfect time to get equipped with your strategies, right? To be able to take advantage of this, no matter what market we head up in. But anything else to add to that, Donny, so far?
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the Big Short, because I think this is the bigger short. I think the reality is, in the Big Short, what that movie was going off is that you had the Goldman Sachs, your giant hedge funds, your big money players were the guys who were speculating on the market. One guy in the Big Short was speculating against the housing market, right? And he didn't cause the collapse, but he saw it coming. This market's different in the capacity of everybody's betting against the housing market right now. Okay. You have an entire system that's going, things have to get cheaper. In my home market here in Colorado Springs, we went from an average price point in the early 4s to the mid 5s in the span of a 12-month period. We're talking a 20% appreciation in 12 months. What caused that hyper appreciation? Well, low interest rates. That's number one. But really, we got to come back to that speculation. We speculated that there was no end in sight, that prices could just continue to increase and rise, when the reality is, at some point, everything that comes up must come down. And now everybody believes that that's what's going to happen next. And the government is literally leading the charge to make that correction take place right before our very eyes. Now, that all sounds like bad news, but the good news is that the people who are well trained in this market, have the accountability coaches, have the ability to navigate in a market that's heading down, are going to benefit from the bigger short at twice the trajectory, I believe, that the Big Short investors made last time. So it's a
fascinating. I think that's brilliant the way you put that. Everyone in the Big Short, only really a couple of groups were betting against the housing market, and everyone was calling them crazy. And by the way, if you haven't seen the movie or read the book, the book's even better. But read that, and I watched it again a couple of weeks ago, just to kind of. It was about a month and a half ago, just to remind myself of some of those things. But it's a good point. In this scenario, everyone's saying, well, everyone's betting against it, right? So it's a different thing there. So you can't necessarily do that. So specifically talk to us. You said it's the bigger short. So in your mind, foreclosures are going to happen, it sounds like, at least to some extent. These adjustable rate mortgages, right? They're going to adjust. People, the question I have is, what would those values be? Would the big institutions just gobble up, like the BlackRock, just gobble up and make those rent housing, right? Buy them all cash. And they're like, well, we got all kinds of cash, right? I mean, walk us through where an investor can take advantage of this and be nimble enough to be able to execute.
Yeah, well, to your point, yes, you're going to see a huge amount of corporate ownership. The reality right now is corporate ownership in the U.S. is at all-time highs currently, whereas that's been normal in the commercial space, where corporations own most of the commercial space. Today, the residential marketplace is at the highest level ever of corporate ownership. Now, that's happening because those properties are hyper profitable. They were speculating on the fact that they were going to keep going up in value. Rents kept going up, so they were making more money on that. On those houses than ever. When that changes, only your BlackRocks or heavily funded institutions are going to keep hold of that inventory. The other ones who they made their money in the short term, like any part of this market, they make a bunch of money going in. When they realize that the party's over, they're going to dump that inventory. Okay. And in my opinion, that's going to cause a big drag on the economy, because when inventory is very high, demand can't keep up with that. That's what drives the prices down. Now, that's okay for corporations who can take losses, but for the homeowner who's going to see 10%, 15% in the short-term reductions, they're going to panic sell. So Brett, in our experience, when the retail market suffers, let's say it goes down by 10%, which is probably about where we are in most parts of the country right now, the wholesale market or the investor market, where guys like me are buying properties, they can see an exponential growth from that 10%, usually 2 to 3 times. So the wholesale market's going to do much better as the market fades, because if retail selling at 10% below value, wholesale may be selling at 20 or 30% below value, just to keep up and bait cash investors or hard money private investors into the market to keep those deals flowing. Again, incredible opportunity if you understand it and if you have the right guidance, financing, coaching, and ability to navigate that market properly. Huge amount of money can be made.
Amazing. Okay, great. And so By the way, if you want to get in touch right now with Donny Coram, the foreclosure coach, it's foreclosure deals with an S, coach.com. That's foreclosure deals coach.com.
Thank you.
So, okay. So we touched on also these three freedoms. I really like about that. Once you guys dive through those three again, the financial, location, and time freedom, talk about the vision to help people out. Go, Donny.
Love that. Thank you. Let's start with financial freedom. That's a pretty obvious one, right? Making enough money that you can cover your bills there and beyond. But my challenge to my clients is to dream bigger. Okay. The reality is people are looking at financial freedom as just being able to pay your basic bills each and every single month. Let me tell you, in a recession, if you are aiming to just cover your bills, you're going to fall short pretty much every time. You can't keep pace with the rate the economy is going down and or the devaluing of a dollar, which although they're trying to slow inflation, they can't completely stop inflation, right? So you got to aim higher. So financial freedom comes from having substantially more income than you need to cover your bills. This is not an excuse to live above your means, but rather the understanding that if you need $5,000 a month to support yourself, you better be aiming for 10 to 15 grand a month just to make sure in a declining economy that you can cover any gaps in between. So financial freedom is critical, but everybody talks about financial freedom, right? Your capital gains tax solutions. I heard your intro. I love that. The idea is reducing what you're paying the federal government in cap gains so you can have more finances available to yourself, right? That's the essence of it. Financial freedom is not easy, but everybody's kind of working on that. Next up is location freedom. As I sit here, I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which I normally love. During the spring and summertime, this is one of my favorite places in the world to be. My kids are here, my family's here. I love it. But right about this time of year, October-ish, I remember why I don't want to be in Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's cold, it's raining, it's snowing. I'm a tropical people. There's got to be a beach nearby that I could go to, but there isn't in Colorado. I've looked several times and they don't exist, Brett. They're just not here, right? So location freedom allows you through investing, and if you're successful at any investing, you can be where you want to be when you want to be there. Right? You can go get a vacation rental. I just bought a vacation rental in the Florida market. I was planning on spending more time at that vacation rental. Then we had this big hurricane out in Florida. Now the thing's booked out for 3 solid months. So I'm guessing I'm not going to get to see that for a while. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that was not the intention, right? So I want to be in Florida in the winter, and I don't want to be in Florida in the summertime. I want to be here in the spring and summertime and be in Florida. Location freedom is only afforded to people who have figured out their financial freedom in the sense that they don't have to be in the same market where they work in. We're all got to do something for a living, but as an investor, if you got passive income coming in from your real estate, from flipping houses, et cetera, you can physically be anywhere you want to be. And I work with my students to make sure they can be in that location. You love beach life, do that. You want to be in the mountains snowboarding in the dead of the winter, why should we not have that ability to do that? All it comes down to is proper investment strategy, right? And then finally, my favorite is time freedom. I play the guitar. I'm the front man of a Hootie and the Blowfish cover band. They made me Hootie. I don't know if that's typecasting or not.
Nice. I love that.
It's bad. I got my guitar sitting right here. So I get a little practice in the office here occasionally, but I want to have the time to wake up in the morning and decide what my day looks like, right? And determine that based on not what I have to do to provide a living for myself and my family, but rather what I want to do. And then if I want to increase the living for myself and my family, if I want to buy the new Ferrari that just came out, right? I saw this condo in Miami I fell in love with, but it's, it's $10 million. So it's like, do I want to go to that level? I decide to do that. Time freedom means you do what your time what you want to do. You simply cannot get there through your 9-to-5 job. If you're a real estate agent right now, and a lot of my clients who go to this program are real estate agents, they lack time freedom, right? They have to go show houses. They got to do whatever the market dictates. Well, if you're a real estate investor, you get that time freedom back. You've got the ability to operate with your time the way you want. And let's face it, we got a limited amount of time on this planet, right? So you got to spend it the way you want to be spending it. Get the financial and location things worked out. Time freedom will present itself in ways you can't fathom. One day I'll be touring with my band, talking to you, Darius Rucker, I'm coming for you. I'll be touring with my band full time on a tour bus somewhere, because that's my passion. That's what I want to be doing, but I got to get to time freedom to make that a reality.
Amazing. Donny Coram, everybody, foreclosure deals coach.com, foreclosure deals coach. Let's shift, Donny, into capital gains tax.
All right.
Let's geek out a little bit about this. So a lot of our clients, friends, and family, or even like yourself, like I'm curious, what's been the biggest frustration for yourself or clients when it comes to capital gains tax and or the 1031 exchange over all of your experience with real estate in all the years?
Starting with the capital gains tax, the IRS is just a problem. I think it's just always going to be a problem. And obviously what you're offering out there, giving some solutions to give those guys less money, I think that's a blessing. And I thank you for that vision, because Lord knows we need more of that, because man, I'm tired of paying those guys. The 1031 exchange is such a critical program. There's so much misinformation out there about how that functions, where it functions. All the time I'm talking to clients, like they're worried about making a huge profit on their flip because they're fearful that they're going to have to pay a large portion of it to the federal government. Well, as you well know, Brent, you set this up properly with a 1031 exchange. Yes, you have to reinvest the money, but keep in mind, my objective is to help you build wealth. You want to reinvest that money, and you want to reinvest that money at the lowest possible capital gains tax rate that you can. Otherwise, the government's getting a piece of the action and your freedoms are going to take longer to obtain, right? So the struggle that I face really, Brett, is helping people to understand the 1031 program. There's a ton of misinformation out there. I love the idea of being able to refer them to you as an expert in that field and having people have the benefit of it. It's not that difficult. Don't mind me saying. It just requires a great deal of understanding of how that program works and setting it up properly in the early stages of acquisition to make sure you can benefit from it later. But the right custodian is critical, and the right information is a big part of it. So thank you for providing that.
100%. And by the way, just to clarify, we also, we actually focus on the deferred sales trust, which is an alternative to 1031, which eliminates the timing restrictions, but we also help people navigate the 1031 as well, because we are brokers and we work with QI companies to figure out what the best option may be. Because sometimes it is the 1031. Like if you find a deal that makes sense, man, go for it. Yes. But if you're running out of time, the deal doesn't make sense, right? Perhaps it's either better to either pay the tax or use a deferred sales trust to defer the tax and reinvest at any time. We call that optimal timing by partnering with the trust. It's a unique way. A long time ago, Donny, I learned about this at Marcus and Millichap. We thought we were the Navy SEALs of investment, real estate, multifamily investments, and 1031 exchanges. But then the market fell apart, right? And all of a sudden we saw clients for the family lose half or everything. And we're like, there's got to be a better way. And then we learned about this deferred sales trust, not to be confused with the Delaware statutory trust, which is just another form of a 1031. And it works for businesses, which a 1031 doesn't work for. It works for cryptocurrency. It works for high-end primary homes. Of course, it works for investment real estate. It works for stock. And what's amazing about it, Donny, is you can exit the asset, defer all the tax, and then you can invest it back into real estate, all tax deferred. So it's kind of like creating 1031s in different asset types to get into real estate and get into a fix and flip business. So if people want to learn more about this, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We got a free ebook you can download. You can also check out our YouTube channel, Capital Gains Tax Solutions. That being said, Donny, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's do it.
All right. Knowing what you know now, Donny, if you go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you make sure to tell yourself to do?
Stay focused. I think a lot of people, especially me, I just had this habit of wanting to try it all. If I could go back and grab myself at 25, I would tell myself, your calling is to help people build wealth through real estate strategy. But I had to go through becoming a real estate agent, flipping 300 properties, doing all the stuff that I've done to arrive at this point. If I could go back and grab me at 25, I'd go, you should be setting up the coaching product today. And it'd be in a whole different place if I'd grabbed that focus earlier on.
Amazing. What's the number one book you've recommended the most in the past year?
Really big fan of Start With Why. And I've gotten a lot out of that one from Simon Sinek, and just really focused on what is the purpose behind all of this. And my purpose ties to family and my faith and a lot of that stuff, that why I'm doing this stuff. But you got to understand your why at a very deep level to truly move forward.
Excellent. Next question. What are you most curious about right now?
I'm most curious about where this market is going to go. I think that, the fun part about a declining market is that nobody really knows how deep or bad this is going to get, or maybe are we just overreacting? I still believe we live in the greatest country in the world. So maybe this is just going to be something we're going to, for sure, we're going to absorb this. We're going to move forward. Everything's going to be fine. But it's super fun to kind of wonder what's going to happen every single day. Fun and terrifying, I guess. It's kind of
like we're skating on ice, right? We're wondering how thin is this ice, right? And like it's kind of fun. It's kind of moving around, but this ice might come in. I might be freezing cold.
But
cool.
Somebody's going to fall through the ice.
Yeah. As long as you know how to swim, you got someone to help you up, right?
There you go.
Second to last question. What's the number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Do something you love, and you'll never have to spend a day working. I think that's been purported for a long time, but I'm living proof right now that although I love flipping, I love real estate, I love all of it. I've never loved anything as much as watching the lights come on in my clients' eyes when we have an oh my gosh moment, a moment of realization. I enjoy that more than anything I've ever done professionally or personally. It's a big part of my existence. But do something you love. Don't force yourself into something because it's financially beneficial or because your parents did it or something like that. Find something you love and stick with that.
Fantastic. Last question, Donny. After all your success, helping all the people you've helped, doing all the deals you've done, and being a foreclosure deals coach, by the way, to foreclosuredealscoach.com to find Donny. How do you stay centered in your values? What's the habit that you practice, Donny, to stay centered and also stay encouraged to charge for to reach new heights?
I stay in line with my faith. I think a lot of times you lose sight of it. The more successful you are, the less you can stay in line with faith. I know people's faith vary, and I'm not here to, not a religious discussion. Whatever your beliefs are fine by me, but whatever it is, in times of great success, keep your faith in mind. In times of great strife, keep your faith in mind. For me, it's how I recenter. I go to church weekly. I try to make sure I'm not the center of my own universe, right? That there are bigger picture things that I get, and that keeps me from making decisions that'll get me in trouble down the road. I think faith is super important.
Donny, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing that. Amen to you, brother. I want to encourage you to keep using your gift of taking people from inaction to action, right? Encouraging them, challenging them, pushing them forward to reach their full potential with their wealth, to get these 3 freedoms: financial, location, time, to dream bigger, do all the inspiration that you just laid for us in the last 30 minutes. Keep doing that, Donny. Keep doing that. And for our listeners who want to get in touch with you, can you remind us one last time, what's the best place for all of us to find you?
Check me out at foreclosuredealscoach.com. You can go there and download my free ebook, The Hidden Foreclosure Deals Market, where I outlay how to get started in that angle. And then if you're super interested in proceeding with getting some coaching, schedule a strategy call with me right there on the website. I would love to chat with you about whether coaching is right for you. It's not right for everybody, but I'd be honored to see where your situation is at currently, and if I can be an assistance and a blessing in your life to help you invest properly in below market foreclosure assets.
Amazing. Thanks, Donny. I want to thank our listeners for listening to an episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, also streaming on Expert CRE Secrets podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options, and not having a clear plan is the enemy. And using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the deferred sales trust, is an amazing way for you to exit highly appreciated assets, defer millions of tax, eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange so you can create and preserve more wealth, or help your clients, friends, and family do the same. Also, getting with someone like Donny, who's going to coach you to buy deals at a discount in foreclosure and to build wealth. Amazing way to build wealth. Amazing way to help your family and have all the freedoms that perhaps you're looking for: financial, location, and time freedom. If people want to get in touch with me, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. You can download our free ebook as well. You can also join our free mastermind, our community. It's a deferred sales trust masterclass every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Just go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. And if the Expert CRE Secrets people out there as well, we so appreciate you. And we will talk to